Remember when every iPhone launch felt like it was bending reality? I mean, Touch ID, Face ID, the App Store multi-touch display. It was like magic happening in your hands. Now, the biggest headline is a slightly smaller notch. Okay, that may have come off just a little bit rude, but you can't deny that there's some facts in there. Even though Apple would actually say that innovation hasn't slowed, it's just shifted. No, they have chips now that would make laptops scream, batteries that actually last all day, and cameras that can basically shoot full-on Hollywood movies. But no one's bragging about a nanometer architecture. They want fireworks. They want AI magic. They want anything that doesn't feel like the last 5 iPhones just dressed in the new trench coat. And that's the real tension, right? Is Apple actually falling behind, or if we just get bored because the iPhone is already too good? So today we're going to get into it. We're going to take a look at Apple's strategy, the iPhone itself, the ecosystem, and all this to answer one simple question. Does Apple actually have an iPhone problem?
Okay, so let's actually break this down. I mean, when Apple talks innovation, they actually mean 3 main things: performance, polish, and privacy. Stuff like your chip is so fast it makes your laptop sweat, or seamless ecosystem integration, or an AI model that actually works locally, not on the cloud, for your data protection.
Right, and all of that actually sounds really impressive. If you're into keynote bingo, but regular people, they think of innovation more along the means of something bold, visually disruptive, like a foldable screen or a stylus that actually feels good, a new way to kind of interact with your phone.
And neither side is wrong. They're just speaking different languages. Apple's version of innovation is cumulative. Better battery life plus better silicon plus better, tighter software. It's about compound upgrades.
Yeah, but compound upgrades aren't going to trend on TikTok. I mean, nobody's calling their friends screaming, yo, this year's phone has a 1.7% brighter screen in outdoor mode.
Yeah, but also let's not act like those things don't matter. I mean, a better battery, an extra hour, photos that process instantaneously and are kind of hard to ruin. That actually is perfect when you're trying to capture that moment, right? The problem is when that's all that you do, people can't stop noticing. And then they just lump everything into the same phone, different year, When they don't feel the change, they kind of just assume that Apple stopped innovating.
Yeah, and I think that's where the disconnect really is happening. You see, Apple sees refinement as innovation while customers are looking for reinvention. And the further apart those ideals get, the louder the Apple is getting boring statement kind of becomes. Even though under the hood, the iPhone's actually never been better. So the question might not be, is Apple innovating? It might be, are they innovating in a way that customers can actually feel? And that brings us to how we got here in the first place. All right, so let's time travel back to when the iPhone broke the internet. The first iPhone didn't just change phones, it reshaped the world.
An iPod. A phone. Are you getting it?
No keyboard, just glass, multi-touch, app store, mobile browsing that, didn't feel like a punishment.
Yeah, then came the Retina display, Siri, Lightning port, live photos, Face ID. I mean, it's like year after year, there was a moment that made you go, wait, I can do that now?
Fast forward to today, and the tone is, shall we say, just a little bit different. I mean, we have the dynamic island, which is in fact just a fancier notification bar, the action button, which you still need to program yourself. It's like Apple saying, yeah, sure, we'll innovate, as long as it still fits in our rectangle.
Okay, but credit where credit is due, right? I mean, MagSafe did bring back modular accessories, night mode, made low light photos genuinely good again. And the battery life, well, that's day and night better than the older models.
Still, I mean, it's clear that the rate of disruption has really slowed. We're not in the stage of leaping forward anymore. We're now polishing and sanding the corners and tuning the engine.
Yeah, I could see that. And I guess that kind of raises another question altogether, right? Is Apple out of bold ideas, or are they just really playing it safe, close to the vest on purpose?
Now, to be fair, they've never been the first to jump into the technology. Not NFC, not 5G, not even bigger screens. I mean, their motto basically should be that the other guys kind of beta test it, will swoop in, streamline it, and then basically pretend like we created it in the first place.
And I mean, the strategy has definitely worked up until now. Apple tends to wait, refine, and execute cleanly, but in 2025, the tech world is kind of speeding up. AI is definitely exploding. Foldables are becoming a real thing, and customers now have options again.
Yeah, so when Apple spends 5 years perfecting the action button while Samsung's flipping phones open like sci-fi, that slow and steady thing starts to feel just a little bit cautious.
Yeah, and there are some real forces behind that caution. I mean, regulation is closing in. The EU has already regulated that USB-C needs to be a thing on these devices. Battery replacements have to be accessible to users. I mean, right to repair laws are rightfully, taking root.
Add in rising iPhone prices, the pressure to protect margins, and the need to not mess up this iPhone cash machine. Yeah. Safe starts to make a lot more sense.
Yeah, and kind of the catch-22 to playing it safe is that it will keep the stock prices stable, but it won't keep people excited. And, that kind of brings us to another shift, probably one of the biggest one we've seen in this sector in years, and that's the AI race.
Yeah, while everybody was tripping over themselves, shouting AI this or AI that, Apple just stood there, silent, for a long time. But when they finally showed to the party, they brought a clipboard, not a boombox.
Yeah, but Apple's approach has never really been about racing, ever. It's always been about control. Their AI runs locally on device, using their natural engine. It's private, it's power efficient, with seamless integration across all the core Apple apps.
Which is great for privacy, but not great if you're expecting fireworks. The future, innovation. I mean, while Google's rewriting emails and Samsung's translating live phone calls, Apple's showing off custom emojis and a slightly less awkward Siri.
I mean, it's the classic Apple playbook. You show less now, deliver more later, ideally with fewer bugs, a tighter polish. But that approach kind of feels a little bit more risky now when everybody else is shipping AI at full speed.
Riskier and slower. I mean, let's be honest, 2025 is the year of the AI hype, and Apple's just now beta testing a slice of it, if you have an iPhone 15 Pro or newer, that is.
I mean, will Apple Intelligence catch up? Yeah, maybe. But if you're a customer watching Android do all these cool AI things, or you're a developer, going all in on AI tools, it kind of feels like Apple's the last guest to be at the party.
And that's where the iPhone problem starts to feel a little bit real. Not because Apple isn't smart, but because they might be moving a little too carefully for a moment that is all about big, bold moves. Now, you see the crazy part is if you were to go on the internet, you would think that everybody and their mother was switching from Apple to something more exciting. Pixels, Samsungs, AI phones that can run ChatGPT, locally fold into your sock or whatever. But when you actually take a look at the numbers, you start to realize that Apple is still, Apple. iPhone sales hit 44.6 billion last quarter, and that's up 13% year over year. And loyalty, it's still hovering near 90%.
Which means that despite all the boredom talk, people aren't leaving. They're just holding on to their phones a lot longer. I mean, the average upgrade cycle in the US is now about 3 to 4 years, and it's still climbing.
And that's not an Apple problem. That's a maturity problem. All premium phones are getting so good, it's harder to convince people that they need a new one every year.
Still, some cracks are showing. I mean, in China, for example, Apple's second biggest market, sales dipped slightly, and Gen Z, well, they're flirting with foldables and AI-first phones, so that loyalty wall is not unbreakable.
So is Apple in trouble? Not financially, not yet, but culturally, that's where the shift is happening. I mean, people are still buying iPhones. They're just not talking about them the way they used to.
Yeah, and that's pretty dangerous, actually, because in tech, excitement matters almost as much as execution.
So let's talk about that forbidden act of switching. I mean, Reddit confessions, YouTube thumbnails. I switched to Android for 30 days, and here's what happened.
So really, if you think about it, people don't switch because they're bored. They switch because something new kind of solves a pain point that they have. Like better AI or real multitasking or foldables that actually don't suck.
Or maybe it's price. I mean, let's be real, the new iPhone Pro Max cost as much as a decent laptop, and some Android flagships undercut that pretty hard.
Yeah, but again, most people, they just don't switch. And that's not because he just fell in love with Apple's latest keynote. It's because switching is work, man. Like your photos, your messages, your watch, your AirPods, your Mac, it's all connected. And you see, Apple isn't just selling you a phone, they're selling you glue. And the deeper you go, the harder it is to leave. That's not brand loyalty, that's just platform lock-in with nicer fonts. That's been Apple's strategy from the beginning, and it's paying off.
And for a lot of people, that's actually okay. I mean, the glue works, it's smooth, it's simple, but when something truly new and exciting comes along, like AI that lives directly in your messages and your emails, or phones that can fold into a tablet, that itch for something different can get louder. And that's what Apple's really dealing with. Not a mass exodus, but a slow drip of curiosity.
Yeah, you know what they say about curiosity, right? The real question is, what's next? Is Apple cooked already out of tricks? Because if you're looking at things long term, the answer might be, well, not yet.
I mean, take the Vision Pro. It's basically a $3,500 flex. And while it's not mainstream, it does show that Apple can still go bold. A risky product, new category, unproven market. I mean, that's basically old school Apple energy.
Same with the foldables. Rumor says Apple's been testing prototypes for years, but they just haven't pulled the trigger yet. And when they do, it's probably going to be cleaner, thinner, and more polished than anything that's out right now.
Yeah, but still, rumors aren't roadmaps. And while the Vision Pro is cool, it's not fixing the iPhone conversation. Apple Intelligence might, if they could ship it beyond reminders and just Genmojis.
I mean, in all reality, the thing is, Apple doesn't really need to reinvent the wheel every year, but they do need to remind people why the iPhone matters, why it's still a thing. And it's not just because it's safe, it's because it's in the lead. It's the leading phone in the United States.
Again, I mean, they've done it before. The Retina display, Face ID, the App Store. I mean, Apple knows how to shift the industry. The only question is, do they still want to? So does Apple actually have an iPhone problem? Not really. Not yet, anyway, because if you look at the iPhone sales, 44.6 billion, up double digits year over year is absurd. Not to mention 90% loyalty and 2 billion Apple devices out there, all orbiting the iPhone at the center.
But here's the not yet part of all of that. See, Apple's biggest risk isn't losing money, it's losing momentum. When people stop talking about your phone, stop caring what's new, that's a cultural risk. And with AI accelerating competitors folding phones and rewriting emails in real time, Apple's slow and steady approach kind of feels more like a wait and see. So no, the iPhone isn't a crisis, and Apple doesn't have an iPhone problem today. But remember, excitement is currency too. And if the gap between what they ship and what people feel keeps growing, they could definitely have one tomorrow.
And now it's your turn. Do you, the people who use iPhones every day and watch the news on releases, think that Apple has an iPhone problem? Will they eventually have an iPhone problem? What are your current thoughts and feelings about the iPhone itself? Share your thoughts in the comment section down below. We definitely want to hear them. Thank you guys so much for checking out the video. And until next time.